I currently teach a technical theater class, and I teach my chorus classes in this space. And then, so I'll have kids building with saws and drills and paint. At the same time, I have kids singing, and in one room, and the dust kind of settles, and we all just kind of wipe it off and continue on. But it doesn't allow us to do the best that we can do. And I do teach over 10% of this school, either in school or in my programs after school. And being able to have a little bit more space would afford those students more hands-on learning that they can then apply in their lives outside of school, and also allow us to host other forums, specifically in the theater and music. We're unable to have other schools come in here, other departments come in here and use this space due to just the entrances, for example. You can't get anything, we can't take things in and out because they're so small. So we would like to be able to do those type of things and kind of join the schools that have upgraded. So I'll turn that over to you.
Michael?
Well, I just want to start off by saying that I'm very proud of the school and I'm proud of my grade. And I feel that the school has prepared me well for the future, but there are some serious problems. When I heard about the possibility of a new school building, I knew it was something that I had to see become a reality. As a student, I have spent 990 school days, or 6,435 hours, or 386,100 minutes in the middle school and high school over the past 5.5 years of my life. This doesn't even begin to conclude all the time I've spent after school here. That means I know almost everything about these two schools, and based on that fact alone, you need to believe me when I say that we need to build a new school. Leaky ceiling tiles, broken desks, crowded hallways, outdated equipment, and deteriorating bathrooms is just the norm for North Reading schools. What do you expect when the high school was built in 1955 and the middle school was built in 1963? It's time we step into the 21st century so our students can compete in a global economy, and this is our one and only opportunity. If we do not take the money, another town will, and we might not get another chance like this for another 50 years. Many people live in the past asking themselves the question, what if this had happened, or what if I had done that? Do not make this project another what if. It is too late for me to benefit from a new school, but just think of all the students who will benefit from a new school building. If it was your child, wouldn't you want the best for them? This school will not just help the students, it will help the whole community. New home buyers want to live in a community with a strong school system, so this will make your house more appealing if or when you want to sell it. Jobs will be created and more people will be coming into North Reading, which will benefit local small businesses. Other towns have seen the benefits of a new school and that the advantages far outweigh the minor negatives, and they have accepted plans. Now it's our turn. Opportunity knocks on our door only once. That single moment in our life comes only once and never returns. Let's not let this one get away. Thank you for giving me this time. I have faith that the citizens of North Reading will make the right decision.
I think it would be beneficial if next time Michael does the presentation. Probably get a lot more support. Thank you, Michael. Yes.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Darren Hunt. I live on Havel Street. I had two questions. One was a follow-up about the cost estimate that we saw. I think if I heard you right, they're about 15% design complete. So my question is, what's the accuracy of the estimate numbers that we saw up there? Like, I think industry standard for something that's 15% designed is probably more like plus or minus 25% accuracy for an estimate.
Chris or Brad?
I think that typically what we would see is we'd see something more around the 10% range, which is what we have built into above and beyond the other contingency that was spoken about tonight. So built into the cost right now, there's a design and pricing contingency. I think in terms of where is the pricing on this project as compared to other projects, it seems to be pretty close. I don't see, and we asked both estimators, is there anything here that you see, that's giving you concern or that seems outside the norm? And both of them seem to think that at this point in the project, it seemed to be pretty much on the mark. You were talking about Wilmington. I'm fairly familiar with that project as well. And this project is actually tracking a little bit under the Wilmington project right now on a dollars per square foot basis. So one of the things in terms of the MSBA partnership is that they don't really go forward with projects unless they have a high degree of comfort that ultimately the project at the level that it is going to be consistent with what the budget says it's going to be and with what the current market standards are.
Thank you, that was helpful. I had one other question, probably shifting gears from construction and cost. As a parent of a fifth grader that's at the Batchelder School now, I have some concerns about the shared campus design with the potential, I guess, greater potential for middle school age children to be exposed to, call it, high school age behaviors. And maybe even the potential for greater risk for bullying with all those age groups. And I know there's some common areas where they're going to be seeing, and I'm just wondering if anyone on the panel has some experience from some other communities that have already engaged in a project that's completed with a shared campus.
That's a pitch right down the middle of the plate for the superintendent. Gotta hit a home run here.
Sorry, I moved that over to our principal of the middle school. Prior to my coming to North Reading a year and a half ago, I worked for 30 years in the Triton Regional School District. My last 18 years in the district included my office being on a middle school, high school campus located in the middle school. It's ironic that it's very similar here. I can tell you that the coordination between the high school principal and the middle school principal determine the success of the experience of the students in those buildings. I can already see from the collaboration that's taking place between our middle school principal, who's new to us this year, and our high school principal, that I have absolutely no concerns about them, their ability to work together to make this a positive educational experience for the students. But I've been in the halls at Triton Regional when students were passing. I can tell you that the way that the schedules are constructed, the middle school schedule is very different from the high school schedule. And through management of the schedule, students are passing at different times. And that's something that I was referring to in terms of the collaboration between the two principals. I traveled those halls often, and I did never see a high school student go out of his or her way to engage with a middle school student. In fact, I saw quite the opposite. The high school students tended to not want to mingle with the middle school students. They've been there, they've done that. And we also made sure that we had different entrances and exits, as we do in this project, for entering the school and exiting the school. We are going to maintain separate busing schedules for our middle school and our high school students. We are not combining the students on the same buses. I've assured the committee that we will maintain a two-tiered system as we currently have in place. So the students will not even be on the buses with each other as far as the different levels are concerned. But I've seen it work. I've also visited Manchester, Essex, most recently to take a look at how their new project was launched. And I can tell you that the students were actually intermingled in common spaces. They were not separated by middle school and high school, and I saw absolutely no issues. And I was there for at least 4 hours, walking the halls, spending time in the Library Media Center, spending time in the cafeteria, and their cafeteria is not separate like the one that we're suggesting. The students in the middle school and the high school eat together. And so when I was talking to the current superintendent there and asking her about potential issues, anticipating that this might come up, she said to me, "Kathy, we have great kids here. We set very high expectations for how we want them to behave, and we're vigilant about enforcing those guidelines and those expectations. And so our students don't take advantage of spending time with each other." And she said to me also, you know, when I was growing up, I had a younger sister and an older sister, and we got along just fine, and we weren't separated in our family. So we need to use those same kinds of guidelines and consider ourselves families in these communities and make sure that we all look out for each other and do the best that we can to promote respect. And if we promote respect, our students will act respectfully. I think Kathy's going to talk in a minute about opportunities to provide mentorship and peer leadership between those levels. But at the end of the day, we want to maintain highly safe learning environments. That's our goal now, and that will continue to be our goal when we open a new facility. So I assure you that we will do everything that we need to do to make sure that that takes place.
Go ahead.
Hi. Before I was a teacher here, I was a teacher in a middle school, high school, combined school in the Midwest. And I taught 7th grade and I taught high school at the same time. And it was a building laid out very similar to this building with core classes separated. And then we had a shared gymnasium, we had a shared auditorium, and we had a shared cafeteria just like this. And it's coming from a teacher's perspective. I found it very easy to work with the kids. The flow just kind of happens and everybody gets used to the patterns that they're in. And students do like to talk to each other, and it doesn't matter the age. They're all here for a common purpose, and they take pride in the school that they're in. So as far as all the students being together, 6 through 12, it kind of created a better community and school pride, having the students all together in one school building.
Thank you, Allison.
Yeah. I could just echo what the superintendent said and Allison Kane. My first school district was in Midwestern town, 7 through 12, and I would just like to build on the positive parts of having the students together, building on that community idea, the spirit of the kids learning and working together. There's been a lot of studies done that show that kids learn best from peer to peer, sometimes even more than adult to child. So we already have programs in place where high school students come down to the middle school for tutoring and for social education. And they're fantastic, but if we were sharing the same building, those after-school opportunities would be easier. And I would also like to mention that transitions can be challenging for children and for families, and this would limit a very major transition that our 8th grade families are now going through with the concept of having to move up to the big high school and what that will be like. We would not have as much of a transition when we are sharing the same building. So the grade 8 students would have less stress and tension about moving into grade 9, and that's a factor that we should very much consider. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Bernard?
Mr. Paul, are there any studies that you could cite for us, either on the website, that we could actually do the research?
I could absolutely make available some of the peer tutoring studies that have been done that show that certain kids are more responsive to peer tutoring than they are to adult education.
Mr. Venezia.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I guess I'm not a study, but I can give you testimonial that it does work. As a member of SLAM Student Leaders Mentoring, and also I've tutored a little bit, not through the school, but just in my neighborhood. I noticed that sometimes when I put it down into more simpler terms, then the teacher gives it to a younger student, they're more likely to understand it. I actually don't tutor the girl that I used to tutor because she's gotten so much better that she doesn't need me anymore. But I guess that's good work, right? But I feel that even though we're kind of focusing on the bad things that might happen, there's a lot of good that could happen. We could extend mentoring. I know that as I was mentored as a freshman and I decided to join SLAM, so I've seen that there's a lot of good coming from it, that it does help. It does help to have someone older that when you need help, that you can go to them. You don't always want to go to a teacher, and you don't always want to go to your parent, but just having some guidance of an older student can be a lot of help. And doing that to the middle school students would be beneficial, I feel. It wouldn't be, I don't feel that that there's going to be a lot of problems. I feel that the benefits are just going to be extended into the middle school instead of just to the freshman students.
Sir, again, there's a number of campuses, middle school, high school campuses right in the Cape Ann League, and the superintendent mentioned Triton. Manchester, Essex, Ipswich, Masconomet, all typical towns similar to ours. But I know that if you have any questions or concerns, they would make themselves available to answer those for you. So feel free to contact the superintendent, the